But Bitcoin per se is mostly solving for scarcity, or rather solving for uh, essentially having no throat to choke, decentralized.
When I look at Bitcoin, I see a financial revolution in its purest form. It is not just a digital currency, it represents a complete break with the traditional financial system. Think about what we have today. Banks, governments, intermediaries controlling how money flows and who can and cannot access it. Bitcoin removes these barriers and puts control directly in people's hands. It is an empowering tool. And the most impressive thing is that Bitcoin works in a completely decentralized way. There's no central bank dictating the rules, no government manipulating its supply or controlling who can use it. And this is incredible because it creates a system where transactions are direct and global. You can send money to anyone, anywhere in the world, without going through absurd fees or bureaucratic processes. It is an evolution reminiscent of the internet, which democratized access to information. Now we are democratizing access to money. Bitcoin also has another fascinating aspect. It is transparent and secure. Each transaction is recorded on a public network called blockchain, which is virtually impossible to tamper with. This is especially important in a world where trust in institutions is increasingly low. With Bitcoin, you don't need to trust a central entity. You can trust the system. I see Bitcoin as a form of financial freedom. It allows anyone to participate in a global economy without restrictions. Imagine the impact of this in countries with weak banking systems, or where inflation is out of control. For these people, Bitcoin is not just an alternative, he is a salvation. And for those wondering, should I invest? I would say it makes sense. I'm not saying put all your money into it, but Bitcoin is an asset that is changing the world, has already proven its value as a store of wealth and an innovative technology. I believe that whoever bets on it today will be at the forefront of a transformation that is just beginning. What deeply fascinates me about Bitcoin is the idea of decentralization. We live in a world where money, the financial system, and even the global economy are controlled by centralized entities. Governments, central banks, large corporations. This creates an environment where a few people have disproportionate power, while the majority are at the mercy of their decisions. Bitcoin comes to change that. With Bitcoin, there is no owner. It does not belong to any government, bank, or organization. Instead, it is maintained by a global network of people who participate in the system on a voluntary basis. This is amazing, because it means no one can manipulate his supply, censor his transactions, or decide how much he is worth. It's a system that truly puts power in the hands of individuals. This decentralization brings financial freedom on a level we have never seen before. For example, in many parts of the world, people do not have access to a bank, and even where banks are available, they charge exorbitant fees or impose restrictive rules. With Bitcoin, you don't need a bank. Your cell phone and an internet connection are enough for you to participate in a global economy. Furthermore, Bitcoin is censorship resistant. In some countries, people have their bank accounts frozen or are prevented from sending money out of the country. With Bitcoin, this cannot happen. It allows people to keep their money under control without interference from governments or institutions. I believe this freedom is revolutionary, which is why I support Bitcoin. It is not just a currency, it is a statement. He says the power should be in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a few institutions. For those who value freedom and autonomy, Bitcoin is a powerful tool, and I would encourage everyone to explore it. We are talking about a unique opportunity to be part of something truly transformative. One of the most fascinating features of Bitcoin, in my opinion, is its scarcity. It is programmed to have a fixed limit of 21 million units. This means there will never be more Bitcoins than that. Compare this to traditional currencies, the dollar, the euro, or whatever, which can be printed at will by governments. The difference is gigantic. When you understand how the traditional financial system works, you realize that it is based on constant expansion. Governments print money to solve short-term problems, but this inevitably leads to inflation. The money you have in your pocket or in your account loses value over time. Bitcoin solves this problem brilliantly because it is deflationary by design. The more people join the network, the greater the demand and the more scarce it becomes. I like to compare Bitcoin to gold, but with some obvious advantages. Gold is also scarce, but we don't know exactly how much is still underground. With Bitcoin, everything is transparent. We know there will be exactly 21 million, and we can track every transaction on the blockchain. Additionally, Bitcoin is much easier to transfer. You can send any amount anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes. No need to carry metal bars. Another point that catches my attention is how Bitcoin is becoming a store of value for people around the world. In countries where inflation is out of control, like Venezuela or Argentina, Bitcoin offers a real alternative. It allows people to protect their wealth from flawed financial systems and governments that abuse their power. I believe Bitcoin is still in its early chapters. As more people realize its potential as a scarce and valuable asset, its adoption will continue to grow. If you are thinking about diversifying your investments or protecting your assets against the uncertainties of the traditional system, Bitcoin is definitely something worth considering. In my view, it is the digital gold of the 21st century, and the opportunities it offers are extraordinary. It is impossible to talk about Bitcoin without addressing the issue of energy consumption. I know a lot of people see this as a problem, and it's a valid concern. Bitcoin mining requires a significant amount of energy, as the system is designed to be highly secure and decentralized. But it's important to understand the context and potential behind it. First, Bitcoin's energy consumption is not spent in vain. It is used to secure the network, ensure transactions are trustworthy, and prevent fraud. This makes Bitcoin one of the most secure financial systems ever created. Now, if we compare Bitcoin consumption with the traditional financial system, which includes banks, offices, transporting money, or printing banknotes and everything else, we will see that the environmental impact of the current system is also enormous. But nobody talks about it. Additionally, it is important to note that Bitcoin mining is becoming increasingly sustainable. Many mining operations are moving to renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. In fact, Bitcoin miners have a financial incentive to seek the cheapest energy sources, which are often renewables. For example, the use of surplus energy from plants or gas that would otherwise be burned uselessly is already happening in several places. Another point that I consider crucial is that Bitcoin, when criticized for its energy consumption, is forcing the debate on how we can make our energy sources more efficient. Instead of demonizing Bitcoin, why not use it as a catalyst to drive innovation in the energy sector? That's exactly what's happening. Many mining technologies are developing to be more sustainable and smart. The truth is that the energy issue is not the end of Bitcoin's story. She is just a chapter. As adoption grows, cleaner and more efficient solutions will emerge. This is something I deeply believe in. Bitcoin represents such a huge advance in the financial system that it is worth the effort of finding sustainable ways to maintain it. If you are concerned about the environmental impact, know that investing in Bitcoin is also betting on a more innovative and sustainable future. When I think of Bitcoin, I see not just a currency or a financial asset, but the beginning of something much bigger. It opened the doors to a new paradigm in technology and the global economy. The idea of a decentralized system, where the rules are clear and equal for everyone, is one of the most powerful innovations we have ever witnessed. Bitcoin has shown that it is possible to create trust in a system based on mathematics and code without the need for intermediaries. That, in itself, is revolutionary. Before Bitcoin, we always depended on third parties, banks, governments, companies to mediate our transactions and ensure they were secure. We now have a transparent and self-sufficient system where every transaction is verified by a global network of participants. This idea inspired an entire movement of innovations. Think smart contracts, decentralized finance, DeFi, and even NFTs. None of these things would exist without Bitcoin paving the way. It's like the internet in its early days. It started as something simple, but its impact transformed the way we live, work, and connect. Likewise, Bitcoin is the foundation of an ecosystem that will redefine the concept of economics. I believe that in the future, Bitcoin and related technologies will be deeply integrated into our lives in ways that we may not even realize. It can become the basis for fairer and more transparent financial systems where anyone, no matter where they are, can participate. This isn't just about money, it's about equal opportunity and inclusion on a global scale. If you are hesitating, my suggestion is simple. Don't stand still while this transformation happens. Bitcoin is a chance to participate in something historic, something that is changing the world. For me, it is a bet on the future, and it is a future that I personally want to see happen. What Bitcoin started is just the beginning, and the journey ahead is as exciting as its creation.